And good morning, it's your friendly neighborhood Tironan, and you may want to pay attention to this bar here. When I get an additional 1.644000, we get our flying pancake. And every once in a while I'll get a wild hair and decide to pursue it. So I am going to just kind of go through the rotation of everything I got 2x experience on and run through that and talk about the game. And we'll go on just until I get tired of talking, and that'll be the end of the video. And this is one where I'm going to invite as many player comments as I can get. Now, I don't know about you, but I would like to see more from the game. Not that there's anything wrong with the game, but I would like to see more that incorporates various play styles and co-op play and some other things. And so the question becomes, what would you like to see in the game? What would make this more interesting to you? And I know that at least some people in World of Warplanes, in the World of Wargaming universe, actually listen to these videos. So how much, I don't know. How much influence I actually have, probably not much. But and I want to keep it positive here, okay? This isn't going to be, I don't want that. I want things that you want to see, things that they would be interested in hearing, things that the customer wants that would make it more attractive to them. And I was noticing when I was playing Armored Warfare for that, when I cranked out the video today, that they went with a co-op mode. And so you don't end up in a situation, I don't know what your experience was, but when I went into War Thunder, I stopped playing Armor altogether. Because people that were in there had been playing the game for months, years, decades, I don't know. Knew the map to the nth degree, knew exactly the hiding places to be at, and proceeded to eat anybody else that came in at any level alive. And it just took all the fun out of it. You were lucky if you ever hit another tank before you were destroyed. Not my definition of fun, not newbie friendly. And if you don't get new players in, you're pretty much with whatever your capture base is and captured base is, and that's it. You're done. There's no more. You're not going to get any new players, and nobody wants to play it because they die. You get little or no experience. They rack up their kills. They're happy. You're not. Probably not the experience that you want if you ever want to expand your player base. And that's between gauging and what they want their design. Of course, they're the ones that are paying for the game and the ones that are making money from the game. But to me, that isn't what you're looking for in a game. And obviously, I'm doing this just for mindless fun while we talk about this, and I earn a little money. World of Warplanes is in a different situation. We all know about, or I think we all know about what the troubles that World of Warplanes 1.0 had. But that's history, right? I mean, it's not like 2.0 has much to do with 1.0. But in a crowded gaming industry, it's not getting the numbers that it should. And I'm hoping that's changing, and I'm hoping that people will realize what a great game this is. And what I find myself dying for more than anything else is something that's a little different. Something to say, I want to do something different than play the same maps all the time. It's always conquest mode, right? Now, they are very good about, you can set up a map and play, and test out aircraft and so forth and so on, which is lovely as far as it goes. And good place to learn how bots react. You can actually set up bots and learn how they'll react to various bases and what have you. So that has its uses, but it doesn't give you any experience, and so for advancing your planes and having fun with the game, it's has utilitarian use, but that's about it, right? And so what I'm really thinking is there's a lot of gamers out here with a lot of experience. What would you find attractive? What's important to you? What would make you say, this is a game I have to play? This is a game I want to play over and over and over again. Think about it. For me, cooperative play can be pretty interesting. And it's a nice place for somebody to get their feet wet, though this is a very newbie-friendly game. All right, you don't need to go buy thousands of dollars of hardware or have the gaming rig, PC rig from hell to be successful in this game. You don't. I suggest you have a decent video card and enough memory to run the game successfully, but if you have a mouse and a keyboard and a decent computer, it'll run just fine. Now, I do run the PC rig from hell because I'm doing video capture. And if I had one regret, I wish I had paid for the 1080 card into the 1060 card. Because I run shadow play, and everything you see is captured at 1900 by 1080, which means that my captures are, for the average game, our 15-minute game is about 3 gigabytes. Think about that for a minute. That's a lot of video being processed. I have serious questions whether I can ever get up to this guy's altitude. This guy keeping the game out of our reach. And so long that this guy's diving finally. Okay. I don't think it's ever taken me this long to capture an airbase before. Maybe they're respawning because it took us so long to get to them. There we go. Well, 3 bases torn. We're doing pretty good. Go to the alt view. But as games go, this is a very newcomer friendly. I don't like noob. It's kind of ugly. It's a very newcomer friendly game. You can get in, you can play, you can have fun, you can have success from the first game. I did. I was shocked at how well I was doing at the game. And how much fun I was having at it. But I would like to see things like cooperative game modes, different types of game modes, different types of maps. Some of the things that I think about is the release of some of the planes from their various categories. And there were countries that had very specific ground attack aircraft. The U.S. did as well. Especially in the Navy, you had torpedo bombers and dive bombers and so forth and so on. Those were very role specific and always had been. Now, granted, they were anti-ship types, but I guarantee you that as a dive bomber, the Dauntless and the Helldiver did very well in the land attack role, as did the Avenger. Some of these guys need to learn how to shoot. And my thoughts on that are this. Oh, I love this, by the way. I'm getting to just kind of ramble around and talk about whatever I want to. You have the F-190, which is a multi-role fighter. And it was true that it was not a great altitude high altitude aircraft until you got to the Dora. In which case it became a very high altitude aircraft fighter. And it was reputed to be and by both Allied and German pilots of flew it, was that it was very much a competitor to the P-51. Go compare the two aircraft as they sit. Now, we're not talking the A-8 or the A-5, where they were definitely ground attack aircraft and intended as such and had all sorts of extra weapons on them. We're talking about the Dora, the TA-152, extremely fast aircraft, very large wings because they were meant to fight at high altitude, and had a contest with the P-51, which the Germans were very, very aware of. And the P-47, there's another aircraft that's shackled to the multi-role, which it did do ground attack, did it very well. You got 10, assisted with 5. Okay. Oh, Dark Skylar beat me because he's in a tier 3. I'm doing a Rage Against the Machine. No, I'm not. Okay. But I'm also going to say that the multi-role does not very well encapsulate certain countries' use of their fighters. The U.S. would hang bombs and rockets on anything capable of doing them. And by the way, one of my favorite pet peeves is the F-4F as a multi-role fighter. That thing was so overweight that you didn't have, there were 6 occasions where somebody put bombs on them. They were so overweight that it just doesn't work. 6 occasions throughout the entirety of World War II. Somebody actually took the time to find that out. Talk about... I mean, lordy. I've heard of anal retentive, but Lord Almighty, that guy had a nerd rage going. Anyway, the U.S. had put bombs on P-51s. They would put rockets on P-51s. They would put them on P-47. They would put them on the P-38 rather frequently. Could carry a heck of a bomb load. They were very good at attacking soft targets, and much overrated for attacking armor. But armor without its logistics train is about 24 hours away from coming to a grinding halt. And you say, why? Well, no ammo, no lubricants, no oils, no repair parts, because all the trucks that were carrying them in the back, or in the German case, the horse-drawn wagons, are now dead and shot up, or have run away and hid, or can only move at night. Go ask the Battle of the Bulge how well that. Go read the Battle of the Bulge and realize just how badly that turns out. Okay. And like I said, they did have dive bombers, and the Army would buy Dauntless and Helldivers and Avengers to use as bombs, as specific ground attack aircraft. They would also use things like the B-25 and put cannon and rockets and pack the nose full of 50 calibers, or in one case 75 caliber. There's a P-25H actually had a 75 millimeter cannon in it. And believe it or not, had some success with it, though it had to be hand loaded and everything else. They eventually decided that, 1250s could get the job done, and what they couldn't get done with the 1250s, they had, they could load light bombs or heavy bombs in, and since they had a couple of tons worth of bomb load in it, they could use it like that. And a lot of countries, I mean, the Germans use the 190, that Focke-Wulf 190, as a multi-role. They did not use the Doras. They were too few in number, and they were too specialized at high altitude to do that. But they are still shackled to the multi-role. As far as the U.S. is concerned, any fighter that could haul a bomb was fair game to turn to the ground attack role as needed. So, in my mind, that doesn't really exist. There are not enough bombers in the game. It's something that occurs to me. You have now a couple of German bombers, and you have a Russian bomber. But folks, you had one heck of a lot of American bombers that aren't begun to. You have the A-26. Where's the B-25, the B-26, the B-17, the B-24? What are these aircraft at? Because I'm not seeing them. And then we have all the prototypes. What is it with all the prototypes? You have the F-4F representative, but there's no F-6F, there's no F-8F, both of which were production aircraft. Instead, you have things like the F-2G, which never got beyond the prototype stage. So it makes me wonder. So, paucity of aircraft, and now understand from a designer's point of view, it's a wonderful thing that when you take a prototype, you can take something like a Messerschmitt BF 209, which was an absolute failure as a prototype. It was so bad that the Rhineland Air Ministry, Air Ministry said, don't design anything but jet aircraft from this point on. You're wasting time and resources that we don't have. That's how bad that aircraft was. In no way did it outcompete the 109. You had things like the Eagle as a premium aircraft, thank God. P-75 Eagle that was so bad that and I say so bad, it was okay aircraft, but it was no advancement on what was already existing. And somehow it comes out to be the super aircraft, the 209. I haven't flown it yet, but flying against it, I'll tell you, it's one heck of an aircraft. I'll tell you the Third Reich's Air Ministry's view on it, which was it was not worth the time or effort that had been spent on it. Yeah. But it does give an game designer the ability to say, clean sheet design it. They don't have to pay nearly as much attention to what it did historically. Which is okay, I guess. Good from their standpoint, and the fact they don't have to pay all that much attention to what you're doing. But for a lot of this, it's irritating. The 410 was a great bomber destroyer. Saw extensive use. But in an environment with P-51s, it had no place. And as soon as they started seeing a lot of P-51s, they got withdrawn from service. They had to go with other directions with it. But at least it was used. But it comes out being a far superior aircraft. I will tell you that most Allied pilots in P-47s, P-51s, mosquitoes, for God's sake. So they saw one, they knew they were drooling because it was such a such an effective aircraft. Ineffective aircraft in maneuver. Great at shooting down bombers. There's not very heavy armament in it, but you could not make it work from another in a fighter environment. Just trying to stay alive here. Give a good performance. Well, I went silent here. Guys also pay for a bit of a show, right? So that bothers me in any case. Historical accuracy, one of my favorite complaints, and is on the P-47. That thing should be rated at an altitude like which you've never seen before. damn thing was perfectly happy fighting at 30,000 feet. And it gave its best performance at high altitude. And it was the most nimble at high altitude, and far more so than most aircrafts could dream about it being at that speed. And it becomes everybody used to rave about its performance in high altitude, but there's no mechanic for doing that. And I understand programming it to be a little more realistic may not be in the cards. I don't know.
You've done what you could. Go back to base.
Alright, so if you wonder why I stayed in the same area, we noticed we were behind. I had saw the squall line, and I thought, you know, if we just destroy enough aircraft, we'll run them out. And darned if I didn't come close. 16 killed, 3 assist points, 2 sectors captured. Okay. Enough of that nonsense. So the next question that comes up is, what modes would you like to see? Would you like to see a cooperative mode? Would you like to see a quest mode? They do that in World of Warships, and I keep thinking, and they do it again in Modern Warfare, where they say, you know, here's your target, here's the objective, here's what the enemy's trying to do. That occurs to me as something that would add more interest in the game. You're not just beat the other guy, ha, I got 16 kills, you know, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's escort the bombers to a ball bearing factory, like actually happened in World War II, or you're going to destroy this oil field, or you're going to escort bombers, or use your escort ground attack aircraft to go destroy this harbor, or so forth and so on. You know, you can make them historically based. You don't have to actually use countries. That would be interesting. That could add a lot of interest into the game. So that's something that occurs to me. Again, your thoughts on it are probably far more important than my thoughts. What would you like to see in the game? Clean sheet design. What would you like to see in the game? That's a thought. Now we have the XFL, which does everything good except it's not a very high altitude fighter, and that's historically accurate. You can't really complain too much about that. So I'm going to follow the bots here. I think it's mostly bots. Yeah. Looks like there's 4 of us, aren't? But I have an interest in making sure that the bot count in games goes down. Don't like them. And the reason for it is it removes player agency from deciding the game. It's true, if you have a truly outstanding game, you rip 24 aircraft out of the sky, and that you can still affect the game. But that's a rare occurrence. There's too many times and too often that the bots decide the game. I want bots deciding the game. I want to decide the game. If I lose because I'm not playing good enough, well, you know something, that's too darn bad. I'll get over it. I'll learn how to play better, or I won't. But I don't have to, I don't want to feel like bots and bot behavior is deciding the game for me.
We've taken control of the airfield.
And I see too much of that. Now, if you don't have enough players, you don't have any choice. And please understand, I am not blaming World of Warplanes for that. You've got to be able to put up a game when somebody wants to play a game. If you don't, you have no reason to be online. Just pack it up and go home. So that's their solution for now. I get it. I do get it. And you can like, dislike, or hate it, but that is the fact. Okay. So, obviously, making the game more interesting is fun. Wow, I don't believe I just did a 360 around the guy. I don't know what that is, but boy, I'd sure hate to be in it. Luckily, it's a bot, can't get his feelings hurt. Otherwise, I think I'd be complaining pretty hard. The venerable boomerang. I did take some time actually reading that up, and it was the aircraft that, as far as anybody knows, never shot down a single enemy aircraft. Wasn't good enough to. And the CAC is a great company, by the way. It was Australia's indigenous aircraft factory. The next aircraft that they put out was going to be a competitor to the P-51, or competitive with the P-51. Boy, I'm getting tired of getting... That guy must have been flying against me the whole time. Could never quite get him off my tail, and there's very few aircraft that can stay on the tail of an XFL. Okay. Well, you know how such things go. See how we're doing here. I don't think we're doing that hot. No, we'll see. I want to wander over to this area under contest, tactical capture, and see if we can't get that. Oh, they just did. Yeah, I'm not wandering in the middle of that. You'll find somebody else that'll do it. Speaking of aircraft that just flat do not meet the muster because of the multi-role, the Hurricane 1, it comes very quickly to mind now that I saw it. I've actually been doing a couple of videos on that. I wish I could say that I really love the aircraft. I do not. And it's because it's forced into a multi-role, which means that it's got to have a poor turning circle, and it could turn inside a you actually turn inside the turning circle of a Spitfire. Now, it was slower than a Spitfire.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching. We'll soon be unable to provide support. Do you copy? Over.
but it could turn inside the circle one, and it very much had the ability to dogfight with anything. And it's not represented in the game because of multi-rule. So I think that entire class ought to be abolished and given as close to its actual flight characteristics as it can. And that's my feeling on it. I think it would actually, you can have just multiple lines. You could go down the Hawker line. You could go down the Supermarine line. You can go down the North American line. The Focke-Wulf line. The Messerschmitt line. And where's my KI-44? That's not represented. I want to see aircraft that actually represent things that were out there. That'd be nice. And for those of you who don't know, the KI-44 was the heavyweight interceptor that existed. Let's see where everybody's at. I know a lot of us left, are there? And I'm heading away from my compatriots who need my help. Okay, let's get turned around. And they melted like sunshine. We are dew in the sunshine. Yeah. Now what I want to do is not get involved with the ground attack aircraft. I'm badly outnumbered here. Yeah. And the question becomes, are we going to be able to win because we... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you see that coming. Okay. I'm going to, let's take a look at the upgrades, see what we're doing. A 1 point, so I say 1.5. Go back to the hangar, sell the aircraft. And no, we're not doing that just yet, because this probably has upgrades that I want to make sure that I demount. Okay, so let's go to sell. And if you do not click this button, you lose, they just destroys the very expensive polish. Okay, go back to hanger. Okay, so we look at the upgrades now. And tech tree. And I need just shy of $1 million. I was going to sell the aircraft anyway. They'll prefer to keep it. May buy it again later. But until then, I've got to get new aircraft out. And so this is the ultimate grind video. Also want to ask you guys if you'd be interested in streaming. And I keep hearing it, and I've had a few hints that, hey, maybe you ought to think about streaming. What do you guys think? Is that something you'd actually be interested in? Let me know. If it is, we'll go forward with it. We do believe that I have a Twitch account. And I can stream the games while I play them. And I might do that once a week if you guys would be interested in it. But again, this is another thing like an armored warfare thing. If I don't get a lot of, yeah, I'd be interested in you doing that, you know, I got better things to do with 3 hours of my life than to be streaming games. So do let me know. It's can be awfully important. P-47N is, again, to me, in the Hurricane 1 and the Focke-Wulf are the poster childs of the curse of the multi-role. To me, a P-47N, you can load it with bombs, not load it with bombs. Sorry, when you talk this long, you do need to occasionally take a drink of iced tea. God, I'd hate to ever try to do this drunk. Woo, that'd be ugly. Okay, so anyway, let's just move along. But the P-47N, to me, is an aircraft that should be like a 8,500, 9,000 foot aircraft. Whether you put bombs or not on it or not, is going to be your choice. And something else I'd like to see is a rearming area where you have to fly back to it, spend a minute or two getting rearmed, and then go back. And to suffer the airspeed penalties. But once you drop the ordnance, you've got a clean aircraft. So I don't know how that's handled at this point. I'd just be guessing. And I don't like guessing. So, but that would be something I would like to see. You have a tactical choice to make. Now, there are some aircraft that could never really carry ordnance. F-7F being one of my favorite, you know, get on the pulpit and scream. But an F-6F could carry 2,000 pounds of bombs. It had the same engine as a P-47. Same engine as the F-7F. Or F-8F. Or the F-2G. The F-2G was a good aircraft, by the way. It just could not compete the Bearcat. And anything that the Bearcat or the F-2G could do, the Bearcat could do better, faster, and was a better fighter.
Attention, you are entering the zone controlled by the enemy.
So to me, the P-47 should be a high-altitude fighter. If you want to hang bombs on it and bomb something and get back up to altitude, that should be it. It's far more of a boom and zoomer than a single-engine boom and zoomer, but it's still a boom and zoomer. In actuality, it was not. And it was used quite often as a fighter bomber because it was tough as all get out. You could actually have pistons and piston heads shut off and the pistons showing, and the aircraft would still get home. You think about that for a minute. That's pretty gnarly. Take a lot of damage. And we'll run out here. Drop my bombs. And we'll take a look backwards and see if we did anything. I don't think we did enough. So we'll come around. And I bet a rocket or two here. That did it. I only have 3 more rockets left. And I have a target I can expend them on. If I hit the right button. You think I was sitting in a rainstorm for the amount of flak coming up.
Bomber squadron detected. Engage them immediately.
Well, that's a pretty flight, isn't it? All right. I have a while to go before I can finish up here. So on my to-do wish, I want, if you're going to have bots, at least make them all of equal performance. And I have all this boost available to me. I actually conserved it, and so I can light the dude up. Okay.
Great job. No enemy bombers have broken through.
And now I see that they're in here trying to take our base away from us because we got busy with the bombers. Do not run into the ground attack aircraft if you don't want to die. For some reason, they seem to think when the aircraft is built with 2,000 survival points and you're stupid enough to ram them, that you get exactly what you deserve, and that mechanic I actually agree with. Though if they took the ramming mechanic out altogether, I would be pleased. Bot ramming does not amuse me. And it's one of the few ways in World of Warplanes for somebody to engage in griefing. So why allow it at all? And there's enough games out there that have that issue. Employing cheats in this game just would boggle the mind. I mean, it's too easy to play, too easy to be successful at. You can't aim in World of Warplanes. Work on it a little bit. I mean, come on. How difficult can it be, right? And I'm bomber busting because I can. I'm just going to flat admit the fact I don't want to talk instead of play. And it gives you something to watch while I throw about ideas on pontificate. How many times do you get to just pontificate?
Receiving reports about rapidly deteriorating weather conditions. Support will be unable to reach you. Do you read me? Over.
And besides, I don't know why, but bots kind of suck at bomber busting. What is that about? They're all going to chase after bombers. In fact, I'm kind of sick of that. Tell you what. I want to go after an IL-10 and these various Leonid. Leonid's a bot. I've shot him down too many times.
Heavy storm here. Unable to proceed. Return into base. Do you copy?
Take care of Egon there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Trollfin's a bot too. And here comes Leonid again.
They've almost got us.
And you want to say with 5 fighters around, you can't be that lame, right? Well, yeah, apparently you can. And
Large enemy force is attacking the command center.
it says if you get up there around enough aircraft, you're going to die. Alright, so I'm all destroyed here and stuff. But since we hold 3 bases and they hold 1, and there we go. Maybe it's their way of telling me I need to get back in the game. Yeah, the crashes are something they need to work on too. And I need you to explain to me why World of Shore Ships you can play in there all day long, 7 days a week, and never see a crash to desktop. And in this game, and you got to understand, this is a 16 gig system with like a 1060 card with I don't know, we had 3 or 6 gigs of memory in it, and solid state drives, and all the rest of that stuff. And you're telling me I can't be in it? So it's not the hardware, is what I'm saying. All right, well, you shoot down 17 aircraft, that ought to count for something, right? So we got some money there. Did good, came in number 1, and on the winning side this time. That got us a little closer. Go to Tech Tree again, take out my fabulous flying pancake. And we're down to 830. All right, folks. I'm not going to try your patience anymore. We're going to wrap up here. I'll continue grinding until I can get my frying pancake, and we'll put that out. And let me know your thoughts. Okay, that's the whole point of this. Just throw stuff out, throw eggs against the wall, see what sticks. And it's important to me. It may be important to the game. It may be things that they can start considering for upgrades. Let me know. Alright, folks, remember to like the video if you like the video. Otherwise I won't produce another one like this. Remember to subscribe. I need all the subscribers I can get. YouTube's jacked up their monetization scheme and didn't bother telling anybody till after the fact. Lovely. And so we need 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting there, but it's been a slow crawl. So if you consider subscribing, I consider it a personal favor. I appreciate you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.